August 1953. The last French troop left Cambodia on the 9th of August the same year, ending 90 years of French colonial domination. Having passed through the Vietnam-USA War with great suffering 1 year before the French handed independence back to Vietnam, Cambodia eventually established democracy under a constitutional monarch. The country still needs to accelerate socio-economic development for a better life of the people. Cambodia, in the new era, successfully arranged its first democratic general election in May 1993, under guidance of UNTAC. 3 more elections were held in 1998, 2003, and 2008. By becoming the 10th member country of ASEAN on the 30th of April, 1999, Cambodia received better access to joint economic development and to seek political stability with other members in ASEAN. Cambodia has an area of 181,035 square kilometers. In 2005, population surveyed was 13,589,000. The capital is Phnom Penh. The community, resembling a port city for trades amongst the Indonesian archipelago of today, could well have been established before Christ's era. But the state that developed from these communities became firmly established during the first 1,500 years of Christianity, when the influence of Buddhism and Hinduism were propagating. The Sri Vijaya Empire was one of the largest, oldest, and well-known empires amongst the Indonesian archipelago up to the 9th century, followed by the glorious age of Mataram of Java. Indonesia began trading with other countries in 1400 AD through 1800 AD. Islam arrived in Indonesia around the 11th century and continued to prosper for the next 200 to 300 years. Portugal, the Netherlands, and Britain became more powerful and gained both trade influence and territories. Nationalist movement began to spread and grew in strength during the Second World War, when the Dutch colonial domination weakened. Japan released Indonesia from colonial domination, and freedom activist leader Sukarno and Muhammad Hatta declared independence on the 17th of August 1945. However, the war with the Dutch lasted another 4 years, until the 27th of December 1949, when the Indonesian flag flew gracefully over Istana Merdeka, the Freedom Palace, as the Netherlands handed back independence to Indonesia. Indonesia was a founding member of ASEAN, and the office of the ASEAN Secretariat is also located here. Indonesia is the largest country in ASEAN in terms of size and population, with an area of 1,890,754 square kilometers and a population of 216,410,000. The capital city is Jakarta. Lao People's Democratic Republic began over 4,000 years BC. When the early ethnic people were still wandering in the Mekong River basin. The kingdom of Lan Xang became independent and prosperous towards the end of Sukhothai and Lan Na era. In 1353 AD, Prince Phang Nung set up the Lan Xang kingdom at the capital city of Xiangdong Xiangthong, which later became Luang Prabang. The kingdom later expanded south to Vientiane before disintegrating 400 years later when neighboring nations grew in power. In 1893 AD, the French forced Siam to give up territories west of the Mekong River, allowing France to colonize the whole of Laos. In October 1953, Laos became fully independent from French colonial domination. Laos established a democratic government under constitutional monarchy up to the day when Prince Von Soang, the crown prince, renounced his throne, and the nation became Lao People's Democratic Republic during the National Assembly on the 1st and 2nd of December 1975, with Prince Subhamuvong as president and Kaisan Phombihan as prime minister. Laos became the 8th ASEAN member state on the 23rd of July 1997. Laos has an area of 236,800 square kilometers. The population numbers 5,760,000. The capital city is Vientiane. Once upon a time, 600 years ago, there was a prince from Sumatra named Parameswara. The prince fled from danger through winds and waves across the ocean and landed at this Malayu Peninsula. He built the city which became the port for traders from near and far, from the Middle East, China, Arabia, South America, and Siam. Ancient folklore said that one day the prince went hunting, and while he rested under a big tree, his hunting dogs chased a fawn into a corner. The fawn, however, fought to defend itself by kicking the dogs in the nose and narrowly escaped. Prince Parameswaran saw the incident as a good omen and ordered the construction of the city around the big tree and named it Melaka. Prince Parameswaran was the first Malayan prince to accept Islam as his religion. This is Malacca, the first port of the Malayu Peninsula from ancient time. Today it is a busy ancient city that has been proclaimed by the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, or UNESCO, along with Georgetown of Malaysia, as being important historical cities and World Heritage Sites in July 2008. The prosperity of the Malayu Peninsula originated from here. The history of Malaysia began at this small port city. Gold, silk, tea, opium, tobacco, spices, herb trading was at their peak after the Portuguese colonized the port in 1511 AD. The Dutch took over in 1641, and the British conquered Malacca and colonized it in 1824. Malacca, as well as other states of Malaysia, received independence from Britain on the 31st of August, 1957. Malaysia, one of the 5 members who helped found ASEAN on the 8th of August, 1967, has an area of 330,257 square kilometers, with a population of 25,580,000. The capital city is Kuala Lumpur. In ancient time, various tribes traveled from southern Tibet, spread and settled around the area north of Irrawaddy River. Mon settled in southern Myanmar around 500 BC. Emperor Ashoka the Great propagated Buddhism into Burma around 200 years later. But Burmese historians believe that the first Shwedagon Pagoda was built around the same time when the Lord Buddha was still alive. Mon's kingdom became significant between 600 AD and 1000 AD, when another group of people, the Burmese, also began to form power in the city of Pagan. They built a powerful kingdom in 849 AD, which prospered for 300 years. From then on, the Shans and the Mons continuously fought for control of Burma. When Burma became weakened from domestic conflicts, the influence of Yodhaya, or Ayudhaya, began to spread and threaten King Tong U. Mon's power reached its peak in the 17th century and declined in the following century. Burmese minorities, led by King Along Phaya, were able to expand the kingdom to quite an extent before losing independence to Britain during the colonial era. The British set up a trade center in Siam, not far from Yangon. In an attempt to dominate Burma, 3 wars were fought between Britain and Burma in 1842, 1852, and 1885, and Burma became part of a British colony in 1886. Heavy fighting for independence by Burmese continued throughout British domination. An important activist was Aung San, who led the rally for Burmese independence from Britain before finally achieving it on the 19th of July, 1947. Aung San was shot dead at the age of 32 when his daughter, Aung San Suu Kyi, was only 2 years old. Burma received official independence on the 4th of January, 1848. General Ne Win usurped President U Nu in 1958 and ruled the country with a military council. Burma then had a trial democracy with a general election in 1960 that was won by U Nu's Union Party. However, Ne Win and senior military officers staged a coup d'etat 2 years later. Burma began to deteriorate, both economically and as a socialist state. Widespread protest and demonstrations broke out on the 8th of August, 1988, and lasted for 6 weeks. Around 3,000 people were killed. General Saw Maung became General Ne Win's successor, organized general elections in May 1989, but did not recognize the winner of the election. Mrs. Aung San Suu Kyi, from the National League of Democracy, NLD, Mrs. Aung San